Welcome everyone to today's event. My name is Sam and I'm from Prosper. We are putting on today's virtual careers fair. With me here, we've got a fantastic panel, which I will introduce shortly. But before I do, I would like to just quickly acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today. Without further ado, though, I would like to throw to Anthony, AT, here from CA, who is going to be our MC for today's panel, and who also can help to introduce our panelists today. We've got a couple of employees here from Deloitte, PwC, KordaMentha, and the Australian National Audit Office. But over to you, Anthony, to AT, to give us a bit of a introduction.
Thank you very much indeed, Sam, and welcome everyone. I hope you're having a lovely start to this awesome, amazing affair. As Sam mentioned, I'm Anthony, and I've got the pleasure of leading the careers engagement team at Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. So if you don't know who we are a membership body with over 131,000 members across Australia and New Zealand, and a global affiliate network. We offer the CA program, which is a number of great accountants will go through that and develop technical skills, but also for all of you on the call today, we offer lots of advice to students and graduates to help them succeed in securing internships or graduate roles. So I will be your MC for today, and I'm looking forward as we've got some juicy questions to throw through to our panelists, and also just encourage all of you on the call today. There is a Q&A function within Zoom. I'm sure you're all used to using Zoom these days. So if you do have any questions that you'd like to fire through to our esteemed panelists, then please do go ahead and use that Q&A function. So probably enough of me talking. Let's head over to this great group of people. And if we start off, Heather, would you like to introduce yourself and the organisation that you work for?
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me. My name's Heather Hunt. So I am the National Lead for Audit and Assurance Recruitment at Deloitte.
Thank you very much indeed, Heather. Samantha.
Hello, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us today. My name's Samantha. I'm the People and Culture Manager at a firm called KordaMentha. So I've worked in People and Culture for the last 8 years in the KordaMentha team, and I'm responsible for the graduate and vacation recruitment nationally and internationally. In terms of KordaMentha, just a brief overview. So we're an advisory and investment firm. We've got a number of different service lines that we offer. We have been traditionally known for our restructuring work, which is where we work with businesses that are in financial distress, and we can help them to turn their business around, prepare for a sale, or if we can't do that, we can help them cease operations. Beyond that, we've also got a forensic team, which is one of the largest forensic practices in the Asia Pacific. And in that, we've got forensic accounting, dispute analysis, data analytics, digital forensics as well. And then outside of the accounting realm, we've also got a number of other service lines in the real estate, corporate, capital teams as well. So quite different to your traditional accounting firms. And later on today at 3:20, we've also got a presentation slot so you can hear about one of our restructuring engagements, Network 10. So definitely get to that if you can.
Thank you, Samantha. And Callie.
Thank you, Anthony. Hello, everyone. My name is Callie, and I am the Attraction and Engagement Specialist for PwC. A little bit about me. I started at PwC 2 years ago. I actually started just before COVID hit, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but fun nonetheless. Inside of work, I'm passionate about, getting the right candidate for the right role and all things campus events. So hopefully I'll be able to see some people out any of our universities. I'd love to be able to fly all around Australia. So if there are any of the PwC reps on the call, that's what I'm putting out there. Outside of work, I am passionate about travel. I've actually randomly just started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a little hobby. You can't see right now, but I have bruises everywhere because I'm not very good. But it's just something I've tried to do to keep me busy over lockdowns. Now, about PwC, if you haven't heard about us, we are a global firm, and our purpose is to build trust in society and solve important problems. We work with businesses, governments, the community, small businesses to deliver solutions, and sustainable outcomes. We have over 158 firms across 158 countries, and over 250,000 people. PwC is one of Australia's top 50 brands, and it's also among LinkedIn's top companies from where Australians want to work. Just in the Australian firm, we have over 8,000 people, all working within audit, assurance, consulting, tax services, and enabling functions. And we deliver to over 5,000 clients. And that's me done.
Thank you very much indeed, Callie. And we did have Jodie, but I think she's got some technical issues at the moment. So when she jumps back on, we'll make sure we do an intro. So Heather, I know you mentioned you were from Deloitte, and I'm sure everyone knows the name Deloitte, but it'd be great if you could just give us a bit more of an insight into some of those different sort of your business, your service areas, the ethos. And I think also just a lovely question to kick us all off. I'm sure many of you on the call today, you're there going, oh, you know, I'm at a great uni, I'm doing all these amazing things, but how do I actually stand out? You know, what is it that a company, an organization is really looking for in me to be successful? So, you know, a piece of advice as to how a student can really stand out.
Thank you, Anthony. And yes, sorry, my description was a bit too short at the start. Now I'm warmed up by the other girls. I'll give you a bit more information on Deloitte. So we're a professional services firm. So most people do know us as a typical accounting firm, and that's great for me, given I recruit for ANAO. But we do have lots of other business units as well. So we have financial advisory, we have tax, we have consulting, we recruit for risk advisory, and of course all our internal teams as well. We have graduate and vacationer roles for. So we recruit about 2,000 people a year, so lots of opportunities, so people can come from any degree. Pretty much we have a home for anyone. It's really just about working out what you would like to do and how we can help you achieve those goals. So we've got 10,000 people in Australia, so lots of opportunities to work all over the country, wherever you would like. So in terms of the second part to your question, Anthony, I think probably just being able to demonstrate your passion is one of the most important things as a graduate. We understand you might have a great degree, you might have a little bit of work experience, but really what we're looking for is that passion and that motivation, so that we know that, yeah, we're putting you into the right role is really a big part of it. So learn about the industry, you know, network as much as you can, you know, read the news, or that's a bit old-fashioned now, isn't it? You can do that online, listen to the news, whatever way you want to keep abreast of industry news, you know, LinkedIn. Yeah, I think those are some of the most important things for me.
Thank you. Definitely those podcasts, you know, throw them in there. Always a great way to learn. And hello, Jodie. I see that you are back online. Welcome. Would you like to give a quick introduction to who you are and the organisation that you work for?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Anthony. And apologies for dropping out. It's one of the challenges in working in an incredibly secure environment. Sometimes means that your connection when you sit too close to the secure room drops out quite easily. So I've now moved to a different spot. So Anthony mentioned, my name's Jodie George and I'm from the Australian National Audit Office. We are actually quite a different organisation to the others that you'll be hearing about from today. So I just heard some quite big numbers when we talk about the Australian National Audit Office. We have about 300 employees. So we are a relatively small organisation, but what we, I guess, lack in size, we make up for in so many other things. So for those of you who don't know what the Australian National Audit Office does, and I admit as a graduate, I also didn't know what the ANAO did, but we play a really critical role within the Australian government. So our main role is really to focus on providing accountability and transparency to the Australian government through independent reporting to Parliament. So it sounds like a really big thing, and it actually is quite a big role and an important role in the way our government functions. And one of the key ways that we do this is through our financial statement audits. So you'll probably, I guess that's the main focus here for those of you who are accounting graduates, but we also do provide a range of other areas within the ANAO. So we have performance audits, So when you hear about lots of media around the Auditor General said this or that, that's usually our performance auditors who go in and do a deep dive in a particular area or a particular program. And we've just recently moved into performance statement auditing, which is quite a new area for the industry, particularly in the government industry, where we're actually looking at the performance indicators that different government entities are required to meet. They report against those, whether they've achieved them or not achieved them, and we're actually auditing the completeness and accuracy of those. So it's a bit of a new area, and the area that I work in is obviously the financial statement audit area, where we undertake about 250 mandated financial statement audits. So it's one of those, I guess, a different focus for the ANAO is that we are actually mandated to do the job that we do through legislation. So it does put a bit of a different focus on what we do and how we do it.
Lovely, thank you, Jodie. And I think for our audience, you can see that there's a very diverse range of opportunities available. So going back to the point that Heather said around, how you can stand out, undertaking that level of research, ensuring that you're motivated, you have a passion for that area you're going into. So great to have you all here today. An opportunity for those of you on the call just to ask those questions away, help to develop your insights throughout this whole careers fair. So going across to you, Samantha, any advice as to how students can sort of stand out in that process? And I've seen a comment and a question in there around potentially when you don't actually have that relevant work experience.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And yeah, for the person who asked the question about relevant work experience, do not worry. In a graduate space, I don't think any of the employers on this call would be expecting you to have relevant work experience. Well, it's obviously fantastic if you do. It's definitely not a requirement. So for us here at KordaMentha, in terms of what we look for in an application, we are looking for a well-rounded candidate. So we do obviously have degree requirements for some of our teams. So you do need to have an accounting or finance degree for our restructuring practice, and then it's an accounting or STEM background for our forensic teams. But we do look past that degree as well. We want to get to know you as a person, what motivates you, what are your hobbies and interests, why are you interested in working in this particular space, particularly for us, given we're not that traditional and typical accounting firm. As Heather said, that we have the different, you need to kind of look into the research and understand what it is that you want to do. And that really helps a lot when you're making your application. And for us, the typical work that you do on a day-to-day basis is not your standard accounting, and you're more of a business person, I guess. So the communication side of things, the interpersonal side of things is really important. So if you can demonstrate those sorts of things in your application, you'd probably be well placed to get through that initial stage.
Absolutely, like the piece you said there around that sort of well-rounded individual. It's not just about what you learn, that broader piece to who you are. And Callie, how about yourself at PwC? Is there anything in particular that you want to see in individuals?
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to have to mirror what Heather and Samantha have said. It's exactly the same here at PwC. We want to know, what ignites that passion within your belly. We don't really care too much about degree and CV. We want to know your potential, your ability, and what your purpose is, where your passions lie. It's also something to be said that these experiences within university and within your degree, whilst they're fantastic, they will get your foot in the door. But when it comes to face-to-face interviews and assessment centres, it's who you are and your individuality and your soft skills that are really going to shine and set you apart.
Thank you for that. And Jodie, anything sort of different that you look for in new graduates, interns?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I touched on a little bit earlier about the value in the work that we do and the importance and that plays within the Australian government sector. And I think that's something that we really look for when we're doing our interviews and when we're looking through applications, that we're really looking for that passion. The passion not just in auditing, because it's a bit of a struggle to be too passionate about auditing when you kick off as a graduate, but that real passion in the value that the public sector provides. So it's always a bit dorky when you hear the word public servant, but when you really drill down to those core values that the public service provides, it's really serving the Australian public, and that's a really important part of what we do and the value that we provide. So we do look for that passion. But more than anything, we're looking for strong communicators, you know, someone who loves to get out there and chat, because that's really what auditing is having a really long conversation for, you know, the whole year. But we're also looking for things like, and I think sort of some of the ladies mentioned earlier, we're not looking for someone to start who has all the skills and they're the complete package. But more than anything, we're looking for someone who has that willingness to learn, the enthusiasm to learn, and really demonstrating that they have that ability to grow and to develop and take on those challenges. So that's really what we're looking for as well at the office.
Super. It's great to see that sort of consistent piece there around those passions and motivations coming through. And, you know, for those of you on the call today, if you are thinking, where do my passions align within this, you know, this massive world of accounting and finance, then, you know, really great starting point is the Chartered Accountants Australia New Zealand, UN Limited website. We've got an amazing little quick survey on there, 10 questions, and it helps to align. Does your passion, does it align to like a not-for-profit? Is it a large practice? Is it a corporate? So a good starting point to try and see what that industry looks like, and therefore can direct you through maybe to that, you know, to that KordaMentha, to that Deloitte, elsewhere across there. So highly recommend you check that out, and I'll slot that into the chat a bit later on for the link. But I'm just sort of sticking with the piece around passions and interests, as I know it's definitely piqued the interest of Therese here on the call today, and ask the question, you know, where's your passions and interests? How do you actually incorporate that into your application? I'm not too sure if you can talk us through if it's CVs that you accept or the application forms, but where does that piece where you can say, this is me, this is what I bring and showcase that insight? I will ask that one through to Heather.
No problems. Well, we have a short application question, and we specifically ask you why you're interested in this opportunity. So we make it nice and easy for you to demonstrate that passion there, but you can continue to demonstrate that. So Anthony, you're right, you can absolutely make that really clear in your resume. So especially for some of the unique areas, so some of our sustainability areas, you know, the hiring managers will look at your resume to see, oh, can I see that passion? Can I see that interest throughout the resume? Is it volunteer work? Is it student societies? Is it case competitions? How else can you demonstrate it on your resume that you have a passion for that? You've really tried to get involved in that industry. So definitely that's probably the first way. But I think in our immersive online assessment, you get to learn a little bit more about Deloitte, and you'll get to see, do my values and does my passion align? And if it does, progress with the application. You know, if it doesn't, maybe, you know, you want to look around a little bit. In our digital interview, you have another opportunity to share, and of course at the assessment day as well. So I think keep on sharing it. Everyone, you know, wants to hear. So please don't be shy with passion.
Fantastic. And Samantha, Callie, Jodie, anything you'd like to add around that? No, all the same type of process there, really focusing around those groups.
Yeah, so at PwC, we don't ask for resumes in their initial application. So the opportunity for you to really showcase your passions is there will be a short question about why you're interested in PwC. Really, really think about what the answer to that is. And then you'll be straight away moved to our digital interview, which consists of two 2-minute questions. And those questions is your opportunity then to touch on your experience within universities or your career, depending on what the question asks, and to really let, you know, your facial expressions, your body language, your tone of voice, all these things really add to that piece of, I'm passionate about what I'm talking about, I want this role. And yeah, it makes a world of a difference when somebody's digital interview is extremely impressive because of the way that they present themselves.
Absolutely. I think I've seen many digital interviews in my time, and I do agree with you. It's all about how that person comes across. So for all of you on the call, definitely give it your all when it comes to those recorded video interviews. Jodie, anything sort of different from that Australian, you know, National Audit Office approach in terms of what you look for? I know you talked earlier on around that focus on security. Does that sort of lend itself through in terms of how individuals approach that application process?
So probably the thing that we note the most through our application process is that what we do here at the ANAO is a little bit unique in comparison to a number of the other accounting and auditing firms. And we can tell that in an application when someone's just copied and pasted it across. The private sector versus the public sector does have that element of uniqueness. So I think the one thing that I'd say to those online today is really make sure that you are tailoring that piece on why you want to work here at the office to actually looking at what we do, the value that we add, and that different role to make sure that you are really hitting the mark with, why you want to work here as opposed to somewhere else. I'm not saying that you can't then go and apply at a number of other places, but if you are going to apply at the office, it's really important that you really hit that, the reasons why you would like to work here, really tying into those values and what it is that we do.
Thank you very much. Those insights, Stephanie, around the insights, your personal value add that can be offered coming through loud and clear from all of our panelists today. Whilst we're thinking about that element of application, we're receiving a number of questions through around opportunities available in different organisations, especially whether they're open to international students or those on a bridging visa. I'd just like to see if any of the panelists on the call, do you accept international students?
I might just jump in there first because we might be one of the very few that don't. So at the Australian National Audit Office, because we're working directly with Australian government entities, and that's the places that we work at, in order to get a security clearance, you do either need to be an Australian citizen or very much on the way to being an Australian citizen. So, and that includes residency as well. So we do have some very clear guidelines on our applications to who will be eligible to apply. So normally it doesn't suit international students, unfortunately.
We're also the same. Unfortunately, we can't accept applications from those who don't have Australian citizenship or permanent residency, but I know that Deloitte and PwC probably do, so over to them.
Yeah, we are taking expressions of interest from international students. So if you are an international student on the line, please do look out for our expression of interest. In full transparency, I know that's why you join these calls. It might be things you can't always find on the website. We probably do spend, the first 3 months looking at the Australian citizens and the permanent residents, and then we can have a look at where are the skill gaps, and that way we're able to get approval for people that are on a visa. So do make sure that you've done everything you can to demonstrate that you should get that permanent residency in the future. So do your IELTS test or your equivalent assessment. That will absolutely put you in good stead. But we definitely do take international students. I think we're going to take more this year than last year due to some of the skill gaps with internationals being able to get into the country as well. So hopefully some good news.
And PwC absolutely does take students on student visas. You'll just need to prove before you start work that you do have that bridging visa that has been applied for and approved.
Fantastic. And I'll just add, at sort of CA ANZ, we work with a large number of organisations, and I've been having some chats with an accountancy firm in Bendigo, for instance, some other smaller and mid-tier practices in Melbourne, as well as in sort of New South Wales, who all take international students. So it really does pay just to do a bit of research, look around. There's no harm in actually just reaching out directly and asking the question, well, do you accept international students? Also, highly advised checking out the Chartered Accountants Australia New Zealand Achiever Programme. Through there, we've got a range of employers who will offer internship to international students. So a lovely piece to check out as well. We've talked a fair bit around that sort of application process, how to sort of stand out in there. But I know one of the things that's on the minds of many people is, right, I've got that internship or I've got that grad role. But it's like, oh my gosh, this is a scary transition. I've gone from uni, which may have been virtual for the past 2 years, through to actually working in an environment and having a boss, thinking I don't know anything. Any tips that you've got for sort of individuals as they look to, I guess 2 parts to that question. 1, commence an internship program, and then for those who are going down that graduate route. And we'll start off with Samantha.
Great question, and I think it's definitely a topic that the students on the call today would be very eager to hear about, so great question. I think for an internship perspective first, I think it is going to be a little bit scary, of course, and it is a little bit different if you're then transitioning from an online university environment into in-person working environment, and perhaps it's the first time you've ever set foot in a professional corporate office before. But I think just being yourself is probably the biggest thing and the biggest piece of advice that I would give, because we as employers know that you don't know everything, as I said before, that we don't expect you to, and we're here to help you learn. And that's the whole purpose of an internship, is to gain that experience and gain a bit of insight into an area that you're thinking might be something you want to do down the track as a graduate. So I think just immerse yourself as much as you can, throw yourself into it, get involved, ask lots of questions. That's true as well for the graduate roles as well. That's again probably my biggest piece of advice, is that the first year of your career, wherever you go, graduate roles, is going to be a big learning curve, and it takes time to learn things. And again, we don't expect you to know everything or anything for that matter, and we want you to succeed. So ask the questions, and you'll be better placed if you can start to understand the why of what you're working on and how that kind of fits into the bigger picture. So definitely ask lots of questions. And then my other piece of advice would probably just be to speak up if you're struggling. We don't want you to be sitting at your desk thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to navigate this or something like that. There is a lot of change going on, and if you've bitten off a bit more than you can chew, or you need some guidance or assistance, that is what the team is here for, and that's what we want to help you with. So asking for help is definitely an important skill, and it can take time for someone to develop that, but in my experience, the earlier the better. So ask for help if you need it, and then you can apply it to your next situation, and hopefully you've learned something new. So that's probably my biggest piece.
Fantastic, thank you. And in terms of KordaMentha, do you have both vacation schemes and grad roles available to come in here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we run graduate and vacation opportunities across Australia. So the vacation program is open to penultimate year students. So it's a 4 or 8 week placement over summer. And our graduate program starts in February of each year. So again, we hire for both of those at the same time. So in the March-April period. So applications are open now, and yeah, the vacation program is perfect because it does allow you to get that really good insight into whether it's a graduate role you might want to apply for, or we do also have an early offer scheme as well, where we can make offers immediately after the vacation placement. So definitely recommend getting in and seeing what it's like. And we take we put a lot of emphasis on our vacation program because we want you to see what it's actually like. And the way I kind of describe it is that it's a graduate role on a short-term contract. You're doing everything that you would be doing as a graduate. You're not just getting coffee or photocopying things. It is absolutely real work. I actually had a vacationer in the last period who went from Sydney to Adelaide for a job. So, you're doing real work, you're working on client sites, whatever the opportunity is, we will absolutely get you on it. So
fantastic indeed. And Jodie, in terms of that transition, any advice?
Yes, certainly. So look, one of the roles that I play, obviously I'm a practitioner, so I am a financial statement auditor, but I also head up our quality methodology and learning and development programs. So I definitely echo Samantha's thoughts that, learning and development is such an important part of that first year, and you get that by listening, asking lots of questions, being prepared to get out there and challenge yourself. And I guess with that comes mistakes. That you need to reflect that you will make mistakes, and that's part of the learning experience. And I think that that's really where you get the greatest learnings, is when you do make mistakes. That's, where you get the greatest value from your learning and development. So I think that that's probably the biggest focus for those we call it the first 100 days. So we have a bit of a first 100-day program, a bit like the kindergartens, a little bit of fun. And that's a big part of that part, those first 100 days is asking lots of questions, listening, learning, and taking on those challenges. It's a huge focus for us, and we put a lot of upfront effort into learning and development at the ANAO. So you do spend a large part of your first 12 months having a number of different training programs, both technical and non-technical. So I know it is a big transition when you come in from university, if you've not worked in the corporate sector before, having those non-technical skills as well around, interviewing audit clients, dealing with conflict and managing those sorts of workplace environments. So we do focus on that as well as those technical skills. So really teaching you the fundamentals of what you're going to be doing on the job. And that's pretty much sprinkled in amongst upfront experience. You're straight out to your audit entities, and you're straight into your audit work with your teams. So yeah, I think that that's a really important part, is that challenging yourself and asking questions.
And I really love what you said there around, you know, you are going to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to do that. I think so many people coming out of uni, and I'm sure many of you on the call there, you are probably all exceptional HD students, D, and you come into that work environment and you're like, I'm the best at what I do, you know, as I've been going through my study. And now it's like, what? I don't know. And it's like everyone's scared to make those mistakes. But I think, you know, rightly, if both yourself, Jodie, and Samantha explained that support network is there. It's a learning process. You're expected to make mistakes, so put your hands up and definitely ask those questions. Heather, I know Deloitte's got an amazing sort of support development program. Any advice from your sides?
Yeah, I think the girls covered most of the things I was thinking about. I was thinking about obviously asking questions and taking notes and networking and actually just make friends, because if you're starting an internship, these are going to be people that are part of your life forever, whether they accept a role at the firm you're currently working at together or it's another firm in the future. They might become your clients, your competitors. You know, it's a big world and things change. So I think also be kind to yourself. It's really hard starting a new grad role, you know, even if it's just struggling with the early starts. And I mean, I'm sure you can negotiate your start time, but, you know, different to my uni life, working full time at least. Look after yourself, well-being. There's so much work to do. So, you know, look after yourself, you know, keep in touch with your family and your friends, keep your hobbies, don't give those up. You know, a lot of you might be thinking about doing your CA in the future. So, you know, use that first 6 months to settle in, and the second 6 months you'll be working and studying. So really important to have good time management skills, but ask how you help as well. I've just finished a lot of my talent reviews from vacationers, and a lot of the great feedback came from vacationers who just kept putting their hand up to say, I finished this task, what can I help with next? I'd love to learn some more.
No, fantastic. And I take it across your programs, is there like a support network in terms of, be it buddies, mentors, or coaches there to help that transition?
Yeah, all of the above. So you'll be allocated with a buddy who'll help you mainly on your first day with, you know, where's the coffee machine, most importantly, you know, where's the lunchroom, you know, where do I get fresh air, where's a good place to go for a walk, how can I join the running club, all those sorts of things. And then you'll have a coach who will help you set your goals, check in regularly to make sure you're tracking okay and you're being successful, but also a counselling partner as well. So you've got a support team around you. Now that doesn't just commence when you begin. We actually give you a buddy before you start as well, as part of our Keeping in Touch program. So we really do encourage you, if you're interested, to keep in touch with us right from the time that you're offered. We'd love for you to attend events. Obviously, we'll send you information if you want to receive it. We'll do some fun activities for networking. So yeah, we really love to you know, keep that support going before you start as well.
Fantastic. And Callie, I guess as well, PwC's got quite a well-defined support network available.
Yes, exactly, Anthony. And I just want to say that all these this advice, I wish that I was in this call, you know, 4 years ago when I started my my corporate journey, because everything has been spot on, and it's exactly what I would have said as well. At PwC, we do have a huge emphasis on well-being and support. So likewise, when you start, you will have a buddy, and we really, really encourage all our grads and vackies to form really strong friendships. So we encourage them to, you know, go to after work drinks or join a team together. Well, whatever it is, it's something that your team leader and our partners in the business are really, really supportive of, because as you said, the people that you meet on your first day, you may spend the next 15, 20, 30 years of your career working alongside them. Or maybe you'll transition into different roles, but they will be friends for life. And it's the friends you make at work that really make the workplace. And I'd also just reiterate the importance of being honest with your team leaders and not being afraid to ask for help. If at any point you're feeling overwhelmed, that is a completely normal emotion, especially in your first year and throughout your whole career, to be honest. But don't be afraid to speak up to your team leader and just say, hey, right now I'm struggling with this task or with this workload. Can you help me out here? You can push back and say, I don't have capacity right now to take on this task today. I'll get to it tomorrow. Is that okay?
Absolutely, definitely lots of asking out and asking those questions of others. Everyone's there to help. And, you know, across Deloitte and PwC, I know you both offer those graduate as well as internship programs. And apologies, Jodie, at the ANAO, do you offer both grads and internship programs?
We do, absolutely. So we actually have 2 graduate intakes. So they're all through the one interview process. So our applications are open at the moment. But the outcome of that is that we will take on graduates in October and also again in February. So depending on when you finish university, we're happy to take on at those 2 points throughout the year. And we also have quite a good large vacation program as well. So it's a bit more of an internship. So we generally take people on and they work part-time throughout the organisation. And then obviously we're very flexible around, you know, doing extra work during your school holidays and doing less work when you've got exams and things like that. And that feeds very much into a number of the graduates that have gone on to work here as well. A lot of our strong graduates have come from that vacation program.
Fabulous, fabulous indeed. I know we're down to the last couple of minutes, and I'm just looking through the chat. I know there's some questions as to what might be available to you if you're not in your penultimate year, you're not eligible for internships or graduate related roles. And just to let sort of everyone on the call know, there's so many different opportunities out there. Definitely do your research, as there's some first year insight programs that are on offer by a number of the employers on the call here today. But also another great source is virtual experiences. Check out Forage if you haven't. I know some of the colleagues here on the call have virtual programs on Forage. As does Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand, we've got an amazing piece there to learn what being an accountant at YouTube looks like. But these are great opportunities to sort of build your skill sets, which will help you be successful as you move forward for an internship role. But in our last sort of quick minute to go, I might just do a quick round the grounds of our amazing panelists, just to give sort of one last sort of takeaway for everyone here on the call today. So let's kick off with Callie.
Sorry, one last takeaway.
Just takeaway for everyone here on the call. What do you want to lead them with about PwC?
Okay, why should you work at PwC? The big call. Well, look, we empower our people in upskilling, flexible working, and we encourage all of our people to pursue their passions. I know that passion is the buzzword of today, but we all really mean it when we say it.
Thank you. Samantha, KordaMentha.
Yeah, great, thank you. I think as I've touched on a couple of times, you know, KordaMentha isn't your typical accounting firm. So if you are someone that's on this call thinking, I've done my accounting degree, but audit and tax just doesn't seem like it's for me, there is actually a whole nother world out there, and it's not things that you get taught at uni, which makes it very difficult. But you know, if you're thinking that you want to work with key clients, help businesses, work on different interesting engagements like, you know, Network 10, as I said, we've got a presentation on that later on today, then maybe restructuring's for you, or maybe forensic accounting and working in the fraud and investigation space is something that would be of interest to you. So if you want to go outside your typical realm, then KordaMentha is here. We would love to hear from you, and applications are open now.
Thank you very much. Heather, Deloitte.
Yes, applications are now open until the 15th of March, so we'd absolutely love to see your applications. I think being, you know, one of the biggest professional services firms globally just means there are so many opportunities. So we've got so many different service lines. So I think for Deloitte, there's 2 main things for me, and I think the first one is the variety of work that we can do. So many different industries, so many different clients all around the world. I can't wait for the borders to open because we do love to do lots of secondments, you know, with Asia Pacific or all around the world. We get lots of people in and lots of people go over. So I think opportunities are great. But the reason that I joined Deloitte was simply for the culture. So lots of collaboration, lots of teamwork. And if you love problem solving, great place to be.
Grand. And last but not least, Jodie and the ANAO.
Lovely, thank you. So look, I think one of the key things about working at the ANAO is really the opportunity to undertake meaningful audit work. So we all live within the, we're all impacted by the public sector. So the focus of our work being to improve the performance of that public sector means that the audits that you work on directly impact not just your life, but the life of the entire Australian public. So I think that's something that our staff often reflect on, is really appreciating the value of what it is that we do. On top of that, we work with some of the most unique audit entities that we have in Australia. So we have entities that sit across every single sector. They have unique accounting issues, unique auditing issues, because what the government does is quite unique in comparison to the private sector. So you'll have incredibly challenging work, but you'll also have a really supportive learning and development environment, a really supportive work environment, where we have a really great team structure that will help support you through your career. Whilst I've sort of mostly focused on financial statement auditing, we obviously have a large number of other areas around performance auditing, performance statements. We have a really strong systems assurance and data analytics unit, and I know data analytics is a really big focus in accounting and auditing work at the moment, and our guys are doing some really unique things there. So that's also a really great opportunity too. So like the other ladies, our applications are open and we'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, panelists, thank you so much for the insights that you provided to everyone on the call today. Really took a lot away around doing that research, bringing across those passions, motivations. Work experience is not the be all and end all. It's all about you as an individual, and sort of as you work through, do your research and don't be afraid to ask questions as you go forward in those internships and grad related roles. But thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hand back across to Sam now.
Fantastic. Thanks to all our panelists, and thanks again to AT and the wider Chartered Accountants team, without who this whole event wouldn't be able to go on. So thanks to everyone.